Welcome to Generator, your view into the ever-evolving and vibrant art scene in Ireland today. On this show we profile artist, illustrator and musician Karen Browett, the third artist from Generator's second group exhibition. We meet up with Hannah Fitz at Iblana House, Marlborough Lane, to have an in-depth look at basic space. Firstly, we catch up with Helen Barry at the Axis Theatre Ballymun to talk about the national touring exhibition Practice, which presents collaborative works between professional artists and children.
My name is Helen Barry and I'm an artist. I'm a visual artist and I specialise in sculpture and printmaking. Most of my work is very much based in and around using architecture as a starting point. And for quite a number of years, my work has taken me to exploring specific buildings where communities come together, specifically, I suppose, churches of different faiths, mosques, where that idea of sense of prayer still draws people together, and it's not necessarily, it's not the belief in God or religion and stuff that I'm interested in, but a space that people are drawn together in. Often when you would go into a building, whether it's a church or a house of prayer, you feel very calm in these spaces, and maybe naively had thought, is this the idea or the essence of prayer or spirituality that exists between the building? It's actually the geometry of religious buildings offers perfect symmetry, and if you're in a space or a building that offers perfect symmetry, it affects how you feel and it makes you feel calm. So this, as a starting point, I went on a mission to discuss with architects, and this was sort of an area that the architects didn't really engage with, and I thought I was quite disappointed in that, and I thought, well, perhaps at some point I will talk further with an architect, and maybe at some point I'd work on an architectural project with somebody and develop this and enhance this idea. Well, I suppose the work here that we're sitting in, this is part of a group exhibition called Practice.ie, which is it's being produced by KidZone, who are an arts organisation who hugely support the work of artists, professional artists, who working with children in a collaborative process. Like as an artist, I've spent over 20 odd years working through creative forms with young people and with children, but it's only in the last few years that I've worked actually with early years children, and with them I actually take what I do in my studio and the ideas that I have in the studio, I take that to them, whether it's in a say, well, this particular piece is based on a residency I did over a number of months with a group of children in senior infants, so the average age was 5 and 6. the spontaneity of how they work, and I brought my ideas from the studio into the classroom and handed it over to them to a certain extent, and to see what they were going to do with my ideas. And the idea was that they were allowed to push the idea in whichever direction that they wanted to, and we worked on a very large scale, but a lot of it was because I had handed a lot of it over to them, and they would make the decisions on what we were going to do next. They often challenged an awful lot of my views on what I was doing in the studio, and the particular piece in this exhibition, and my piece is called On Site, and it was to produce, for me, I was going to produce a piece using concrete and suspend it from the ceiling, and to reflect the cityscape. But I had so overworked it in the studio, and I was almost about to start actually making it. And I took the idea to the children in the classroom, and out of cardboard we made the city, or I should say they did, and they ran around and they scuttled around the room and they built this incredible city. And I realized that what I had produced in the studio and was about to start building on a very large scale was completely static, and it didn't reflect the ad hoc nature of a city that the children got. And it was brilliant, because I was able to go, okay, they're doing a lot of the editing for me, and they're fantastic in terms of, yes, if they like something, they like it, and if they don't, they don't, and there isn't any bit in between. It's either yes or no. And with the work with early years, I take so much of their ideas and what that they have done with my work, and challenged me to relook at a lot of the work that I'm working on. And that has really inspired a lot of the work, and it has provided a huge amount of energy into what I'm doing. Often as an artist, you often question kind of, what am I doing in the studio? And you do have bouts of low confidence in what you're doing, and the children in the classroom, when you say, well, you're an artist, they accept this, and they don't question it. They don't ask you, well, why, and what are you doing? They just go, right, okay, get on with it, and they accept this. And that's fantastic, because they have huge trust in your ability to actually do something. They don't question for a second. If you say you're an artist, you're an artist. And there's a lot of responsibility in delivering for them. But it's often when you're not having to justify yourself with it. And that in itself is usually refreshing. And I suppose any profession who goes into a group of younger children, if they say this is what they are and this is their profession, they go fine. But as an adult, when you say you're an artist, people they question you about it. Whereas if somebody said I was a fireman or a milk delivery or a computer person, they would go, oh yes, I know what you do. And that's accepted as a profession. But as people don't accept often an artist as a profession, whereas children actually do. With the younger children, they do. So sometimes when I question a lot of what I'm doing with the children, and I have a piece of artwork, then sometimes I'm not sure where does it start and where does it stop. And there's this fantastic energy in this cycle of the ideas that they're feeding in, and where they're influencing my various pieces of what I'm doing.
This is Basic Space. I'm Hannah Fitz. I studied sculpture in NCAD. In our third year, we decided that we were going to look for a vacant property to have a show in. But it was so difficult at the time that we ended up putting 8 months into the search and became a lot more committed to the idea of running an art space. Eventually we got a building, a gigantic warehouse behind Vicar Street. We've been open for 3 years now, functioning as a studio space, workspace, gallery. We're run by 6 directors. The directors of the space are people who commit to spending their free time on making this like a better place or doing projects. As we are at the moment, we're on Marrowbone Lane in a Blana house, given to us by, or rented to us by the Dublin City Council Arts Office. They give us a lower rent because we're an arts organisation, and we have 15 studio members at this moment, coming into 2014. The next thing we have coming up is the Institute of Jamais Vu are coming over. They are a London-based group and they are painting all of our walls with green screen and making a video in the time that they're over here. They're going to make a video with Star Wars costumes and everything. It's really lovely when you have a show coming from a different country that isn't just coming over with stuff and then putting it here. They're making their work here, which is something that we're really excited about at this point, because I think everyone in the studio, we're at the point of developing our practices. The average kind of age of people's development in here is 2 years or 3 years out of college. We've got a couple more than that, but that's where people are at. They need to be spending time in the studio and talking to each other a lot about their practices. So it's nice to have some place that retains the good things about college after you leave, and the structure of having a workplace. I think actually the development of letting artists into vacant spaces happened really, really slowly in Dublin. We were watching Limerick, the Creative Limerick programme, and went down and visited it and spoke to a lot of the artists working in the spaces. And we didn't know why the Dublin City Council hadn't recognised that way of working. So we were speaking to a couple of lovely people on the council, and within a couple of months we had gotten a lot of support. We had spoken at a lot of events. I don't think that's the way it should have to be for artists who need to find, to open more space and to make more amenities available. But at that point I think there needed to be a good bit of work done. And now that we've opened the space and functioned as a kind of a vacancy space, we can see a lot of the issues that surround vacant use in Dublin. At the moment, they're putting, the idea is that artists can use these spaces for lower rent. But as soon as, of course, the money comes back even slightly, the artists are going to be the first people to go out of the spaces as they're redeveloped and become, shops, spar shops and storage spaces. So I think the problem is coming back into coming into 2014, how do we look out for the future that the next time the money comes back, that the arts are protected in terms of their workspace? For us, this is really important in that it doesn't come down to production, so it becomes less about window decoration and the arts being something that kind of is the shiny, happy surface to a recession, and instead is given like quiet, hopefully warm working space for artists to continue producing artworks. This needs to be provided in policy as the money comes back in. We don't want to hear any more about decorating windows, closed windows in the recession. This needs to be more about investing back into the arts as something that kind of developed itself in the recession times. I hope to see a lot of the groups that did emerge over the last couple of years, the last 4 years in Dublin. It's been a really exciting time in Dublin and around Ireland. And I hope that those groups don't disappear. A lot of them have already, but I hope we see them again.
My name is Karen Browse. I used to work full-time in art, but now I just make art for myself, and I do screen printing quite a lot as well. I end up working with bands, and the beauty of this one was that I got to do it just for myself, which was the first project I'd done just for myself in quite a long time. I studied illustration in college, so I'd been kind of going towards working commercially for the last few years before that. And before that again, it was literally just posters for gigs and making t-shirts and album cover type things and scribbling little cartoons. And I guess like when I was growing up, my granddad was a cartoonist, so we always just kind of drew dumb cartoons growing up the whole time. That's kind of where my whole love of it started. I was working in Tower Records as the kind of art director and in-house graphic designer for about 6 months, and that was an incredible opportunity. I learned loads from it. You really get to progress your work in a certain way because you always have these very strict deadlines, so there's zero procrastination. So it really puts you under pressure, and I think it's important even as a fine artist to try to work commercially in that regard sometimes, to put yourself under that pressure, because you really you become less precious about your work, so your output becomes larger. I'm actually quite happy now to not have that and to be able to go, well, I have this much time at home now for art, I'm not going to use it on all this stuff that I have to do for all these commercial reasons. Finally getting back to drawing for the love of it, but I've still got all this wonderful experience from Tower of throwing things out much faster and with less procrastination than I used to. Wereworms is a 4-person collective. We kind of got together because we were all making art kind of within the music scene, and we just wanted to have something fun to do together where we could just make art for fun for ourselves. And we started to do kind of screen printing and little comics and little drawings, and we'd kind of hold stalls at gigs where like we'd sell zines and patches and all sorts of little things that we made. I think the emphasis on it was just to get the 4 of us working on things that we love again. And it was really nice to have that kind of union of the music scene that we all kind of grew up in and the art that we were doing, all being together at gigs and stuff again. So it's something I really enjoy doing. Yeah, this was a really amazing project for me because, like I said, having worked so hard to become a commercial artist for so long, everything is always too brief. And I think after a few years of that, I kind of forgot how to just draw from me and what I wanted to say in my pictures. It was always trying to rein in a visual interpretation of somebody else's idea. So for this one, especially because I've been moving house, so all my stuff's in storage, I didn't even have a portfolio, that I was just, okay, now I gotta make something for me that's entirely personal very quickly. And the themes that I had been kind of finding coming through in my scribbles on the side pages of all the work that I've been doing was just this kind of theme of kind of having a really shit year, and like all through all of these pieces you can kind of see there's like, I ended up using the I theme without really intending to quite a lot overly, and I think it's just through kind of searching in that year for like strands of kind of who you are and what you're doing. And I really was looking, I think I was kind of searching through all the research I was doing and the documentaries I was watching. I kind of realised we're all to do with this kind of search within yourself. The animal, human things were all to do with kind of searching for, like, reading about animal spirit guides and the whole themes of kind of invocation and possession and guidance and all of these kind of magical things that people look to help them figure things out. And having this project being entirely personal this way and kind of realising that that theme would come through in my scribbles was really, like, I found it very liberating. It was a really fun thing for me to do. I just got to go, okay, you've got 2 weeks, you've got all these themes that have come together, make it the way you want to make it. I'm used to working in a very strong colour palette, and I'm used to, because I've been working commercially, working very heavily with Photoshop and Illustrator. So this was the first thing that I'd allowed myself to put down all of the tools that helped me and to not have any of the equipment I usually have because I'd been moving house and everything, and just have a pencil case with literally some pens, a brush pen, some Indian ink and some paper, and that was all, and it was just incredibly freeing. I loved it.
you.